Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. Of or relating to fabrics or fabric making. Textile research. Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. Woven cloth originated in Mesopotamia around 5000 BC. Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. The fabric in the curtains was light and semi-transparent. The underlying structure. It is part of the fabric of society. Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. She measured off enough material for a dress. Having substance or capable of being treated as fact, not imaginary. Having material or physical form or substance. The tangible substance that goes into the makeup of a physical object. Coal is a hard black material. A person judged suitable for admission or employment. He was university material. Concerned with or affecting physical as distinct from intellectual or psychological well-being. Material needs. Concerned with worldly rather than spiritual interests. Material possessions. Derived from or composed of matter. The material universe. Directly relevant to a matter, especially a law case. His support made a material difference. Information, data or ideas or observations, that can be used or reworked into a finished form. The archives provided rich material for a definitive biography. Things needed for doing or making something. Writing materials. A man-made object taken as a whole. A man-made object taken as a whole. A trademark for a loosely woven cotton fabric that is used to make shirts and underwear. Domesticated llama with long silky fleece, believed to be a domesticated variety of the guanaco. A thin glossy fabric made of the wool of the llama pacos, or made of a rayon or cotton imitation of that wool. Wool of the alpaca. Coarse fabric used for bags or sacks. A bright green fabric napped to resemble felt, used to cover gaming tables. A cloth woven of 2 or more threads interlaced to suggest the weave of a basket. A dyed fabric. A removable wax is used where the dye is not wanted. Dye with wax. Indonesian fabrics are often batikked. A thin plain weave cotton or linen fabric, used for shirts or dresses. The material of which belts are made. A twilled fabric used for dresses. The warp is silk and the weft is worsted. Black bombazine is frequently used for mourning garments. A fabric of uneven yarn that has an uneven knobby effect. A closely woven silk or synthetic fabric with a narrow crosswise rib. A densely textured woolen fabric with a lustrous finish. Thick, heavy, expensive material with a raised pattern. Weave a design into textiles. Rigidly formal. His prose has a buckram quality. A coarse cotton fabric stiffened with glue, used in bookbinding and to stiffen clothing. Stiffen with or as with buckram. Buckram the skirt. A loosely woven fabric used for flags, etc. Any of numerous seed-eating songbirds of Europe or North America. Having sections or patches colored differently and usually brightly. Coarse cloth with a bright print. Made of calico or resembling calico in being patterned. Calico dresses. A finely woven white linen. A soft tan cloth made with the hair of a camel. A soft tan cloth made with the hair of a camel. A fabric of Asian origin, originally made of silk and camel's hair. A garment made of camlet fabric. Fabric dyed with splotches of green and brown and black and tan, intended to make the wearer of a garment made of this fabric hard to distinguish from the background. The act of concealing the identity of something by modifying its appearance. An outward semblance that misrepresents the true nature of something. Fabric dyed with splotches of green and brown and black and tan, intended to make the wearer of a garment made of this fabric hard to distinguish from the background. Device or stratagem for concealment or deceit. Disguise by camouflaging. Exploit the natural surroundings to disguise something. The troops camouflaged themselves before they went into enemy territory. A covering, usually of cloth, that serves as a roof to shelter an area from the weather. Cover with a canopy. The transparent covering of an aircraft cockpit. The umbrella-like part of a parachute that fills with air. A stout cotton fabric with nap on only one side. A large piece of fabric, usually canvas fabric, by means of which wind is used to propel a sailing vessel. A tent made of canvas fabric. A heavy, closely woven fabric, used for clothing or chairs or sails or tents. An oil painting on canvas fabric. The setting for a narrative or fictional or dramatic account. The crowded canvas of history. The mat that forms the floor of the ring in which boxers or professional wrestlers compete. The boxer picked himself up off the canvas. Cover with canvas. She canvassed the walls of her living room so as to conceal the ugly cracks. A large piece of fabric, usually canvas fabric, by means of which wind is used to propel a sailing vessel. A heavy, closely woven fabric, used for clothing or chairs or sails or tents. A tent made of canvas fabric. An oil painting on canvas fabric. An inquiry into public opinion conducted by interviewing a random sample of people. The setting for a narrative or fictional or dramatic account. The mat that forms the floor of the ring in which boxers or professional wrestlers compete. Consider in detail and subject to an analysis in order to discover essential features or meaning. Get the opinions of people by asking specific questions. Solicit votes from potential voters in an electoral campaign.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.